Hi, this is Katie Weeks, your independent, close to my heart maker. And today I'm sharing with you my collaboration with the Makers with Heart. So this month, the Makers with Heart are concentrating on showing how we can use mix-in papers with our paper collections. And I believe Lori might have used some Cozy Up, and that's the one that I'm going to use today. And what I want to show you is how these beautiful papers from the Cozy Up collection and maybe even some little accents can be paired beautifully with our mix-in paper packs. So at the end of this section, you'll see the mix-ins. And obviously I'm going to be concentrating on these through here and not so much the Sapphire and Glacier. But these through here will probably coordinate the nicest with our Cozy Up collection. So I have pulled out some of my Cozy Up items, even some items from the workshop, and some of my mix-in papers. These are some of them that would match the best. And if I run out or need something different, I may even pull in some of these papers from the Gnomes for Autumn, because some of those actually coordinate quite nicely with Cozy Up. So if I need a little bit more, that's a third collection that I might pull my papers from. So when I go to create a layout, I usually look at the zip strip, the branding strip at the top, and see the colors of the cardstock that I have, and that's how I choose my base for my page. I also scrapbook a lot on White Daisy. So the first thing I'll do is use that, and then I go to one of our collections. It depends on where I'm receiving my inspiration, and I am going to pull from our new Make It From Your Heart Volume 6. So you're going to get a sneak peek at pattern 12 and how I'm going to pull these papers all together. Okay, so my pattern showed me that I needed 8 different papers, and I actually pulled in 10 because I chose a base of honey butter cardstock, and I actually gutted that, and then I'm adding an extra layer that's going to have the Kraft cardstock, and then I'm just going through and adding the different layers and cutting them in the order that it showed me. And I kind of kept track of them. You see me piling them up right above my cutting area, and I am just keeping track of each of them. I pulled from both the Cozy Up collection, some cardstock, and here I'll assemble it. So there's honey butter on the base, and then I have 11.5 by 11.5 of the Kraft cardstock. And I wanted to have an extra layer that was not on the pattern, that I just wanted to soften up that honey butter. I'm not a big yellow person, so I wanted to just add a little bit in between. And then I'm going to use a print from the Cozy Up collection that has a whole bunch of words on it about reading and about fall that goes with the collection well. And the paper that I have, I cut down a little more than what they told me because I added that extra layer. And this one is almost like, I want to say a light paprika, a distressed paprika with then lettering on top of it. And it won't look so dark once I get all of my layers on it. And then my next layers were the pumpkin print. Now this print looks super, super busy, but you're not going to see as much of that print once I add on my layers. So when you're picking out your papers and picking out your layers, when you look at the sketch in the pattern books, you really want to get a feel for how much would actually show. So then the next layer is kind of, it's the light side of the Rosemary cardstock, and it just adds a nice break for the eye so that there's not patterns right there, because I'm going to be adding some more layers on top that will have patterns. So I wanted to choose just a plain cardstock. Next, I'm pulling in a paper that's from the Mix-in collection, and it has kind of a diamond design in it, and I believe it's honey butter as well with that design. And so that came from my mix-in, and you can see how beautifully it coordinates with everything. The next print is from Cozy Up, and it's just a tiny little leaves that are falling, and you'll see me bring in the leaf theme in some other spots as I embellish at the end. Now here I have another piece that's from the mix-in, and I believe it's a print from Sage. The print kind of reminds me of one of those composition notebooks that you see in the black and white. It's with sage and white, and it's just going to be used for a mat, and I added an extra mat of that Kraft cardstock behind it. And then there's a whole bunch of little pieces that they have me making a banner across the top. And so I am going to cut the banner tips on all of these little pieces of paper. I believe there were 6, and then I'm going to come through with my metallic paint marker from Spectrum Noir, and I'm using the copper 4mm, and I'm just going to go along the edges of all of those banners. Now, if you are enjoying watching me put together this layout and get some inspiration, I would like you to hit that subscribe button below. I have some more exciting things to show you towards the end, and how I incorporate different textures and different things that kind of spice up the layout. So if you're enjoying this, hit that like button. It's free and it helps me out. And then subscribe if you do not already subscribe to my channel. And here you see me going around all of those banners, and I really like these paint markers. They were something that was in the catalog last year, the Cork catalog, and they were actually kind of hard to keep in stock, but I love that metallic look. It gives me another element on my page, and I really only used it across this banner at the top. So this banner, I want it to kind of swoop around. So once I get them all edged, and then I kind of lay them out, I just draw a little semicircle or a line around that's kind of rounded for my banners to rest on. So this collaboration with the Makers with Heart shows you how we use the mix-ins with our paper packs. You can see how beautifully they go together, and you can even pull out old mix-ins. I know some of the girls pulled in from several mix-in collections, but the nice thing about how our catalogs are set up is each small catalog that is for a couple of months will have a couple of paper packs, and it will have a mix-in paper pack. That mix-in paper pack coordinates beautifully with those paper packs. So I always buy the mix-in paper packs along with my regular paper pack with sticker sheets, so I can really expand how I use them together. And you can see how this gives me more papers to draw up on. Sometimes we have other lines that'll coordinate too, and I like to even mix in papers from other paper packs, but the mix-ins make it so easy to just coordinate everything beautifully. Now obviously I wouldn't pull in one of the sapphire striped papers with this paper pack, but I have such a wide variety of papers to choose from that it's very, very easy to do. So then I'm coming through, and I was looking for a title and just not finding quite what I wanted. And I pulled out the 4 Seasons Autumn paper pack and sticker sheet, what very little I have left of it. And I pulled a title from there that says, Autumn is proof that change is beautiful. And I know that's what I want. And I'm pulling the stickers from the Cozy Up sticker sheet and just adding them together. And you see how wonderful those all pair together. So I'm using some more Kraft cardstocks, and I just wanted photo mats on here so that you could see where my photos will be, and that I already have a mat pre-planned for those photos. Now, can you see how much of those pumpkins are actually covered up once I started going down through all of these layers? It doesn't look nearly as busy with pumpkins as the first impression gave you when I started assembling it, but it certainly looks like it all coordinates beautifully now. Now I'm going to create some clusters, and I wanted this one pumpkin with all the leaves on it to be popped up. So I used some 3D foam tape and layered it on top of some other pumpkins and leaves. And I don't know, for some reason I kind of make my 3 clusters almost the same on all of my layouts. I like one in the far bottom right, and I usually make that my favorite one because the eye is drawn to the bottom right of our layout pages automatically. And so I usually put that one with kind of the biggest. It just depends on my layout, but it worked wonderfully here. You see I added a piece of honey butter cardstock above those pumpkins. I actually added the light side of the honey butter cardstock, and I'm going to use that as a journaling block. And I did try to make sure some of those, that one leaf kind of touched from that cluster that was in the bottom, just to make sure that it didn't look like it was hanging out there in outer space all by itself. Now I want a little cluster of leaves down here in this corner on the left hand side of my layout, and that one I know that the picture will actually be popped up on top of those mats and even over the edge of those leaves, and that's just fine. Now here's how I add some extra pizzazz to my layouts. So I do have some 3D foam tape, but I don't have a lot of other things besides that popping things up and that metallic marker. So here I brought in one of my shimmer brushes. This one happens to be Sundance, and I color some of those leaves and pumpkins. You notice that I scoot my Versamat up because I keep my all-purpose mat underneath there, and I just kind of squeeze and start that shimmer brush before I paint anything, so I don't get a big blob when I get started on my layout. So I'm just going around getting some of the pumpkins even up underneath some of my layers a little bit. I usually don't put my adhesive all the way to the outside edge. That way I can lift it and get in there if I need to. And then I wanted to add another texture or element to this. And so you really want to think about how you can bring in different types of textures and things. And this set is actually the Cork Shapes Autumn that is in the back of the new Essentials catalog that starts in September. But we have a special at the back of that catalog that is for the month of August and September, and our monthly special is Gnomes for Autumn. As part of that special, we have this set of autumn cork shapes that are available now, and I really like that cork added on with this layout. I feel like it coordinates nicely with that cardstock that was the Kraft cardstock, and it gives that earthy organic feel to the layout, and it gives a 3D effect. It's thin, but it does have some dimension to it, and I added some to each of those 3 cluster areas, both the title block, the leaf clusters below, and one over in my pumpkin cluster as well. There's a final look for you. Make sure you're checking this playlist that I leave at the end for more videos to be added the next 2 days. I believe Julie will be tomorrow and Dawn the next day. Please give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this video, and make sure you subscribe to my channel and you hit that bell to turn on all the notifications so you'll be notified every time I upload a crafty video. Please leave me a sweet comment below and share this video with your crafty friends as well. It's free, why not share it? Have a great day.